Napagkasunduan na lang ng Metro Manila mayors na talagang tanggalin na ito dahil meron ka namang protection, may mask ka naman eh. It's just an added one. Make it just a personal choice except for hospitals, for health centers, no, and the PUVs. Maski magpunta ka ospital, mahirap nang wala kang face shield eh. Or even sa health center, lalo ngayon, nababakunahan ng mga bata, yung catch up natin. And of course, sa ating mga public utility vehicle dahil halos dikit-dikit.
Can Metro Manila residents finally nix their face shields? As you've heard from MMDA Chairman Benher Abalos, the Metro Manila Council now wants to lift the use of face shields, save for hospital settings and public transportation.
While the council has yet to get the IATF's green light on that, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno released an executive order that residents can now do away with the gear. But the palace says that EO is null and void. Good evening, I'm Gretchen Hall.
I'm Robbie Alampa. You're watching The Big Story. Goodbye to face shields. That's what Metro Manila mayors are recommending for the IATF to do soon.
But Manila City is an early bird and already issued an order ahead of the IATF's green light. Shaila Francisco with The Big Story.
Face shield days may soon be over for good. From its mandatory usage in enclosed areas like malls, Metro Manila mayors want to do away with face shields anywhere, except in critical areas like hospitals and public transportation. This as vaccination rate is high and COVID cases decline.
Hindi rin naman biro ang gastos ng face shield. Tatapo mo yan pagkagamit mo eh. Pagkasunduan na lang ng Metro Manila mayors na talagang tanggalin na ito dahil meron ka namang protection, may mask ka naman eh. It's just an added one. Make it just a personal choice.
That position, though, has yet to get IATF approval. But one NCR mayor already went a step further, scrapping the mandatory requirement on Monday via an executive order.
I am calling all establishment, malls, and business establishment, and the directors and the enforcement unit are already informed. Please help us inform everyone to cooperate.
But the palace said Manila's EO is null and void. Never mind that Iloilo City had already done the same last November 4 and Davao City on November 2.
Null and void po siya for being in violation of an existing executive policy decreed by the President himself, no, in the exercise of police powers.
But Manila Mayor Isko Moreno told the palace that he won't take back his order.
As far as the local government code is concerned, it is within the power of the local chief executive under Section 16, the General Welfare Clause. His opinion is as good as mine.
Manila residents are more than okay with the new directive.
Pero kung hindi na talaga nila kailangan, katulad ng mga mall, hindi na kailangan ng face shield, talagang hindi na kami magtitinda. Ibibigay ko na lang ng libre. Kasi napagkakitaan ko na rin naman na yan.
Hassle naman to, hindi naman ginagamit, lagi naman nakalagay sa ulo.
Pabor para po, kasi ako katulad sa akin na may hika, hindi po kasi ako makahinga, kaya pabor po sa akin.
But the health department is appealing to mayors, wait first for official policy.
We urge all local governments to just hold their executive orders or their issuances so that we can all be uniform in our implementation.
The IATF will discuss the matter on Thursday. Until then, it urges the public to keep wearing face shields. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
Can we finally ditch face shields? Let's talk with Dr. Ted Herbosa. He is Special Advisor of the National Task Force Against COVID-19. Good evening, Dr. Herbosa. Welcome again to The Big Story.
Good evening, Robbie, and thank you for the nice invitation.
Sir, let's talk about the policy first. Mayor Isko Moreno is invoking the local government code. Harry Roque is saying, no, this is an order direct from the President. Alin po dapat manaig dito?
Well, as of now, for me, the national policy promulgated by the IATF and the President is the wearing of face shield in the 3 Cs, in the enclosed spaces, crowded places, and in close contact situations. So yung close contact, yung hospital, di sila nag-argue doon, no? That we're taking care of positive, mag-face shield tayo. Ang ina-argue nila is whether it should be used in the outdoors. No? Approved na naman yan na hindi gamitin outdoors. So ang problema na lang is public transport and ano pa yung isa, crowded places. So ako, if you ask me as a physician, I am more comfortable with 3 levels of protection than with 2. Kasi yung 2 na sinasabi ko is just the face mask and the vaccine. Di ba? But if we had a third layer, then it's actually more protection. However, no, I would like to clarify, not everyone has a very high level of vaccination as Metro Manila at 87%. Sa ibang probinsya, sa ibang lugar, it is only 35%. So in places like BARM, it is only 5%. So baka nga hindi naman universal yung pag-lift ng face shield policy. So there will be a meeting tomorrow with the IATF and they will probably discuss the policy for the next phase of our face shield wearing.
Okay, so we talked about the policy. Let's talk about the science. I mean, does the science and evidence and research bear it out? What you said, that this adds an extra protection of an extra layer of protection. Because I mean, if that is the case, then why are we the only country left mandating the use of face shields?
That's correct. I think we need more robust science to actually implement it in the public sector. All hospitals and all areas put it on as an additional protection. So our theory is that if it works in the hospital, it should work in a public place where there is a high level of transmission. Right now, our test positivity rate is only 5.7%, I think. The latest report is only 5%, very close to the 5% that the WHO desires. No, which means I think the face shield can be removed if you are at that level. However,
nabanggit niyo po, I mean, Dr. Herbosa, nabanggit niyo po yung mga hospitals. We've spoken with scientists as well as doctors who said we can completely understand kung bakit sa ospital. The face shield is really for protection from fluids, splashing everywhere. And the doctors themselves are saying it was not really designed for air movement.
That's actually true, no? It is just an additional layer that we used last year. But remember, when the rest of the world had Delta, they imposed a double masking policy. But we didn't. We just kept the face mask and the face shield. And we were okay. We didn't have as high a surge of Delta as the other countries.
Okay. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Ted Herbosa, Special Advisor of the National Task Force Against COVID-19. As the wearing of face shields remains part of health protocols for now, the Health Department is warning against anybody disregarding COVID measures. Tonight's big number is 52,393. That's the number of active cases the Philippines could reach by December if health protocols against COVID-19 are ignored. This as mobility rises with Metro Manila easing to alert level 2. But according to the DOH, if the country maintains its 82% mobility rate, active cases should only reach 22,000 by the end of November.
These are the other big stories tonight. The Interior Department is now studying a proposal to delay cash dole-outs for those who have yet to be vaccinated, but some agencies are pushing back. A former drug operative who has been in hiding resurfaces. He claims that government woes on Farmally shouldn't have happened had officials heeded his report on Michael Yang. And some good news to start your week. Another price rollback for fuel starting tomorrow. These big stories after the break.
Watching The Big Story, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Many families became reliant on government dole-outs due to joblessness during the pandemic. But that too may be in limbo soon.
Authorities are considering making vaccination a prerequisite before handing out cash aid. Greg Gregorio with the details.
Angelita has been selling taho for 3 years now. Angelita and her family are also beneficiaries of the government's Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program or 4Ps.
Napakahalaga po talaga kasi katulad niyan yung mga project sa school, mga pangangailangan ng mga bata, napakalaking tulong po.
Interior Department data shows that there are 4.4 million households, or about 19 to 20 million Filipinos like Angelita, who are beneficiaries of 4Ps. But out of this number, only 12% of recipients are vaccinated against COVID-19. With this, the DILG is now proposing to make vaccination a condition for beneficiaries to receive their cash grants.
The subsidy grant of 750 per month, which is called the Health and Nutrition Grant. Yung amount na yon, 750, ma-withhold yon hanggat hindi pa siya nagpapabakuna.
The DILG says an executive order from the president will be enough for the policy to be implemented. This is despite pushback from lawmakers. Vaccinsar Carlito Galvez Jr. also supports this.
Sa 4Ps po, pwede naman natin i-delay yan. Hindi naman natin ito forfeit. Hanggang once na nabakunahan siya, bibigay po natin sa kanya.
But the palace says an amendment of the law is needed for this to be implemented.
Balidong dahilan na i-require ang vaccination kapalit ng pagtatanggap po ng 4P benefits. Pero yun lang po ang aking tingin dito, baka kinakailangan po magkaroon ng amendment sa ating batas.
The Social Welfare Department also said that vaccination is not part of the conditions for 4Ps according to the Republic Act 11310. The Health Department also notes that there must be legal basis for the policy to be imposed.
We do not want to violate also any rights of a specific individual in terms of receiving their benefits coming from government.
Rather than making it mandatory, MMDA Chairman Benher Abalos proposes to incentivize vaccination instead. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
The Philippine government is still waiting for the World Health Organization's guidelines on the rollout of third doses and booster shots. Vaccine Chief Carlito Galvez says they have to know whether additional doses would be homologous or from the same brand, or heterologous or from a different brand. They're also waiting for the Health Department's very own guidelines on administering boosters or third doses. Aside from the two bodies' guidelines, they're also waiting for the amended emergency use authorization of brands.
Tatlo po na yung iniintay po natin, and hopefully dumating po yun before November 20. Mayroon na po tayo nakaprepare na more or less 5 million to 6 million na doses para po sa ating mga healthcare workers, 1.5 million sa healthcare workers at 4.5 million naman po sa mga immunocompromised.
Petron CEO Ramon Ang is willing to sell his oil company anytime after lawmakers suggested returning its ownership to the government to manage oil prices. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
Petron President and CEO Ramon Ang says is willing to sell the oil company back to the government anytime. This came up during the House Ways and Means hearing on fuel excise taxes.
Pwede ko pa ipautang sa Philippine government, bilhin niyo ito ng over 5 years to pay. At bebenta ko kagad sa inyo. Pagawa niyo na ng valuation immediately.
Ang was reacting to a bill filed by Bayan Muna lawmakers calling for the renationalization of the oil company. Petron used to be state-owned, and some lawmakers think privatizing it again means that will help control rising fuel prices. But Ang pointed out that oil is a difficult business and that Petron actually lost a lot of money last year.
Last year, we lost 18 billion pesos. You can check that in Petron. Kung sa tingin nyo, jackpot yung negosyo yan, let the government buy it.
The House is also tackling this week Albay Representative Joey Salcedo's bill, which will exempt diesel and kerosene excise taxes for 6 months and reduce it for gasoline in the same period. The Finance Department, however, does not support any of the proposals, as this would mean a loss of revenue.
In short-term gains due to the lower fuel prices for consumers, however, in the long term, any relief felt will be reversed due to the foregone tax revenue.
This week at least, motorists can breathe a sigh of relief. Effective November 9, local oil companies will implement a 1 peso per liter rollback on gasoline, 60 centavos for diesel, and 65 centavos a liter for kerosene. But it's coming after 9 straight weeks of price hikes. This year alone, diesel prices have spiked more than 18 pesos a liter, while gasoline has jumped almost 20 pesos a liter. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
For the big story in sports, it was an action-packed weekend for the third and final leg of the 2021 Toyota Gazoo Racing Vios Cup. Veteran, rookie, celebrity, and media racers gathered at the Clark International Speedway on Saturday to compete for the title. The competition was filled with excitement as several races went the distance before a champion was crowned. Organizers were more than happy with the outcome of the season as it marked the return of racing amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
I believe that we have exceeded expectations because when we were starting to organize this event this year, we were facing a lot of challenges primarily because of the pandemic. Yes, I am confident that next year and the years after that are going to be so much better because that's the spirit of Toyota Gazoo Racing.
Meanwhile, the journey of TNT big man JP Eram has come full circle after winning the PBA Philippine Cup title with the team that drafted him in 2014. A look into his inspiring climb to the top in my report. Tell me I can't, then watch me work twice as hard to prove you wrong. This has been Poy Eram's mantra in his journey to becoming a PBA champion. Growing up in Cagayan de Oro, Poy knew full well that basketball was his ticket out of a tough life. The journey, though, is far from smooth. He was benched for most of his collegiate career in Ateneo and was relegated as practice player when TNT first picked him up in 2013.
Pero kung ano yung ginagawa ko, kung ano yung tutunan ko sa mga coaches ko nung college, ginagawa ko siya until now. Hindi ako nagiging bored dun sa basics na tinuro sa akin.
He got to show his true mettle under Blackwater, where he even bagged Defensive Player of the Year. But Poy wanted more.
Kahit na tumataas yung value mo, yung level na gusto mo na maabot as a basketball player, wala eh. Kasi hindi kami umaabot ng playoffs, ng quarterfinals, ng semis.
Because of his impressive stint, the Do-It-All Center was given a chance to play for Gilas under Coach Yeng Giao. This opportunity led him to NLEX and eventually back to TNT. And 7 years later, Poy finally won his first championship as a professional.
Yung team na nag-draft sa akin, TNT, tapos nawala ako ng ATS, tapos bumalik ako, tapos sobrang sweet lang kasi unang championship ko sa kanila pa rin.
But the recent bubble campaign was no easy feat for Poy. He had to be away from his family and miss the birth of his son, baby Luca.
Minsan, mabasa ko yung message, parang naiiyak na lang siya kasi ang hirap naman. Dalawa yung anak namin. So yun nga, pag-uwi ko dito, talagang worth it lahat kasi sabi niya, okay lang kahit pagod, basta mag-champion kami. So talagang worth it talaga lahat.
Amidst all the struggles, Poy has some advice for athletes who are feeling behind in their careers.
Huwag lang silang huminto. Bigyan nila ng time yung sarili nila. Kasi ako, binigyan ko ng time yung sarili ko eh. Darating din yung point na makikita rin ng tao. Kung hindi man yung team mo, makikita ng ibang team kung ano yung value mo.
Gretchen Ho, we are One News. Time for another quick break. When we return. Former PDEA operative Eduardo Acierto resurfaces to offer himself as a witness in the Senate's probe on former economic advisor Michael Yang. Before becoming the evil queen, Wonder Woman Gal Gadot takes on the role of the world's top art thief in Red Notice. Our quick chat with her after the break.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. After 3 years in hiding, ex-anti-drug cop Eduardo Acierto resurfaces.
In a video sent to the media, Acierto says he's open to testifying against Michael Yang in the Senate's probe on government's pandemic deals. Marlene Alcaide has this story.
After almost 3 years in hiding, former anti-drug cop Eduardo Acierto resurfaces, this time with a new set of revelations on former executive Michael Yang. He said the Senate would not be probing government's deals with Formally if it had listened to his first intel report on Michael Yang back in 2018. Formally's executives tagged Michael Yang as the company's financier and guarantor.
Kung hindi tinago ang report ko kay Michael Yang at Alan Lim, hindi nangyari ang korupsyon ng Formally. Walang nanakaw na pera ng bayan.
Acierto said he submitted his intelligence report to senior officials in Malacanang, generals, as well as the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, but nothing happened. He is now challenging Senator Richard Gordon to publish his intel report.
Napakaswerte nila Michael Yang at Alan Lim. Si Attorney Duterte at mga alipores niya, ang abogado at tagapagtanggol nila.
Acierto had a long career in the PNP's Anti-Illegal Drugs Task Force from 2003 until the murder of South Korean Ji Ik-ju in 2016. Members of Acierto's task force were implicated in the killing. Even President Duterte linked Acierto to the murder. His name was also dragged in the alleged purchase of AK-47 rifles for the New People's Army.
Hindi ako involved sa pagdukot at pagpatay sa Koreanong si Ji Ik-ju. At lalong hindi ako nagbigay ng mga baril sa NPA.
Malacanang has downplayed Acierto's claims.
Ako sinabi na po ni Presidente sa isang talk to the people, sinungaling po yan si Acierto at hindi dapat paniwalaan. Yan po yung nanggaling nasa bibig mismo ng Presidente, yan po ang pananaw ng ating Presidente.
Gordon's camp said the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee did not block Acierto's report on Michael Yang and Alan Lim's alleged link to illegal drug operations. He also confirmed that Acierto has expressed willingness to testify before the Senate regarding Yang's involvement in the procurement of pandemic supplies. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Here are the other election stories we're watching. Vice President Leni Robredo details her kalayaan sa COVID plan. In a press conference on Monday, Robredo says the comprehensive response plan requires a 500 billion peso budget. Robredo acknowledges that it is a huge amount, but one needs to be, quote, ambitious to fight a problem as big as the COVID-19 pandemic. Presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos Jr. visits Tacloban City, a bailiwick of his relatives, to commemorate the anniversary of Super Typhoon Yolanda. Marcos attended the blessing of the mass grave of victims at the Holy Cross Memorial. Over 6,000 lives were lost during the deadly Category 5 typhoon in 2013. And the would-be government of Ping Lacson and Tito Soto vowed to buy half of the total agricultural output of Filipino farmers and fishermen. Lacson and Soto said they'd buy from them directly and would drop using middlemen. The tandem believes this would prevent potential losses in the future.
In world news, a lawsuit has now been filed after the deadly stampede in Travis Scott's Houston concert over the weekend. Manuel Souza, who suffered serious injuries, filed the lawsuit. He is seeking $1 million in damages from organizers. 8 people were killed and dozens were injured after a 50,000-strong crowd surged toward a commotion during a commotion. Houston authorities are looking at the possibility that a drug injection among the audience triggered the chaos. The rapper, who still performed despite the stampede, has already apologized.
Hello, boys. Wonder Woman is now the Bishop. Gal Gadot returns in action comedy heist film Red Notice. She plays the Bishop, the most wanted art thief in the world. She's the subject of hunt by the unlikely duo of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Ryan Reynolds.
I had an opportunity to play something that I usually don't get to do much.
Yeah.
She's more cheeky, she's more villainy, more femme fatale.
The film is reported to be the biggest budgeted Netflix film ever. And we gotta catch up with Gal on the film's Hollywood red carpet premiere.
How is it going back to the premieres after 2 years?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Such a huge red carpet. It felt like we're slowly getting back to normality.
But this chat will not be complete if we did not brush about her latest project. Gal takes on the iconic role of the evil queen in the live adaptation of Disney's Snow White.
I'm simply attracted to characters, to female characters that are strong and complex and multi-layered.
The highly anticipated film's production begins next year. For now, she's got her hands full promoting Red Notice, which drops on Netflix on November 12th. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Tuvalu's foreign minister is recording his speech for the United Nations Climate Conference in Glasgow in an against-the-current manner. Photos online show Simon Coffey in his suit and tie standing at a lectern set up in the sea. Coffey's trouser legs are also seen rolled up. His stunt is meant to depict how the low-lying Tuvalu is on the front lines of climate change. The nation has been dealing with rising sea levels more than ever. Coffey's recorded speech will be shown tomorrow, Tuesday.
Yan ang tinatawag na show and tell.
And it's a powerful way of showing people. I mean, Tuvalu, along with many Pacific islands, have already lost. A lot of countries are talking about the theoreticals. We might lose our land and so on. Pacific Islanders are showing that we've already lost a lot of land.
And many times, because we hear about climate change, minsan hindi ka na, parang namamanid ka dahil you hear about it often. So I think this is a good move to get people to listen, and listen we shall tomorrow.
And to look, and once and for all, believe what you see.
Well, that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And stay safe, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good evening.